You walk through the hallway every day to get from room to room. It deserves a splash of color. Painting the trim, door, and window can help refresh and completely change the vibe of the space. Before we get started, here are the supplies you'll need. Start by cleaning dirt and grime from your trim with a damp sponge. Then sand the surface and wipe it clean again. Fill in holes, dents, and cracks with a lightweight spackling compound. When it dries, lightly sand the spackled areas. Apply safe-release painter's tape to walls and ceilings surrounding the trim, being careful not to stick the tape to the trim itself. Use longer rather than shorter pieces of tape to lessen the gaps and reduce the chance of paint sneaking through. After drying, lightly sand the surface with a fine grit sanding sponge, wipe down, and you're ready to paint. Paint the trim using short horizontal brushstrokes until a few feet of trim, not the full length, are covered in paint. Smooth over the series of short strokes with one long brush stroke without adding more paint to the brush. Repeat as necessary until all the trim is painted. For the cleanest lines, remove tape before the paint is fully dry. To avoid doors sticking, use high-quality Valspar paint and follow the dry time instructions. If you're painting panel doors, remove all hardware or cover it with painter's tape. Start by painting the recessed panels first with a brush, working from top to bottom. For each panel, paint panel molding first, then the interior using up and down strokes with your brush. Then paint the rest of the door using a 6-inch roller, finishing with the outer edges. The roller will help avoid any paint strokes and give you a much smoother finish. Windows come in all shapes and sizes. In this case, painting the interior window frame is very similar to painting the trim. Most of the prep work and priming is exactly the same. The interior of the frame is the tricky part. Just make sure to cover up the glass with paper and securely tape it into place around the edges. You don't want any paint drips to ruin the view. Perfect! Talk about a transformation! Now your trim, door, and window frame are done. Adding a new color to the walls will completely renew your room. For more information and how-tos, you can visit valspar.com